Hello and welcome to a brand new preview episode for Black on Black Cinema. I'm your host, Jay. I'm here with my co-host, Micah.
Man, it feels like we've been here for an hour and a half.
And Tiara.
Because we have.
Yeah,
hello.
That's right. A little behind the scenes inside baseball. All right, this is a preview episode for episode 217, The Photograph. This one is starring Issa and Lakeith Stanfield. Let me give the log line. No idea if it's accurate. Micah, Tiara, you've seen this movie, so you can tell me. When famed photographer Christina Eames dies unexpectedly, she leaves her estranged daughter, May, hurt, angry, and full of questions. When May finds a photograph tucked away in a safety deposit box, she soon finds herself delving into her mom's early life and an investigation that leads to an unexpected romance with a rising journalist.
Can you do me a favor? When you get your log lines, can you go to IMDb and not Google?
No.
The log line for IMDb, a series of intertwining love stories set in the past and in the present. That's all you need to know.
No.
That's all you need to know.
You gotta give the people everything. The whole plot. Right now. Either way, is that accurate? Is this accurate?
I mean, yeah, but it's, yeah, I like what Michael read better because it's to the point.
Whatever. Anyway, some lady dies. Her daughter finds a box of
Jesus,
stuff.
some lady dies.
I don't know who Christina Eames is. All right, so that's episode 217, The Photograph, to finish out our Black Love series of movies. I haven't seen this movie. The two of you have, so I'm interested to check it out. And I like Issa Rae and I like Lakeith Stanfield, so it's kind of cool to see two brown-skinned folks actually leading a romance drama for once. What is that? Whatever.
We'll see.
That's right. Micah didn't want to do this one. I think he called it boring. So that's fine.
I said that Sylvie's Love is better than this.
Then the next movie we can do is
for both of these movies.
That's fine.
Because I like both.
You said if you don't like this movie, then you hate dark-skinned black women.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, you did say that.
You did say that. Yes, I did.
True.
I stand by that.
It's just not true. It's not true because Tiana Paris is in it, and I love Tiana Paris.
Oh, okay, yeah. So do I. Get out of here. That's the kind of judgment we give here. Like when we're picking movies, if you don't like this, you hate dark-skinned black women. Like, I haven't seen the movie. I'm sorry. Then we can do Loving after that, which is one of the most boring, lame movies I've ever seen.
Nope, I'm not doing Loving.
Holy shit, that movie sucked. Anyway, not good. Just not good. So the random topic this week is about the N-word. And how it was repeatedly said by one Joe Rogan. And everybody is upset because Joe Rogan is the most popular podcaster, I guess, in the world. And he's paid a lot of money by Spotify, I think $100 million. Mm-hmm. And so he's on Spotify exclusively. And now people are like, oh, hey, did you guys know that Joe Rogan is an ass? And people are like, really? That's crazy. And so, somebody put together a montage of him saying nigger a bunch of times. And Joe Rogan fans were very dismissive of it being a big deal. People who are not Joe Rogan fans use that as a proper cudgel to beat him over the head with on social media until he apologized. And his apology was fucking lame. So what I want to say about this is D.L. Hughley actually had a really good series of statements on this. And he was talking about how, like, Joe Rogan's like, well, these things were taken out of context. And he's like, okay, like, they're just clips, right? Like, most of it, I would say, like, you don't really know the context, though I don't think I really need to. But he made the point that it's not taken out of character, which I thought was a great line, because it's like, for them to have a montage of you saying nigger, you've said it a lot. Like, you've said it a ton of times, right? I think he has, like,
nigger, hard ER.
Yeah, hard ER, right? And he was like, yo, a montage is like your greatest hits. Like, so, you've said it that many times. And that the fact that after that came out, Spotify pulled I think 150 episodes or something like that off of their platform.
Oh, wow.
That means they knew where they were already, right? Like they were already quite aware that they could pull them all right now, right? I'm sure they run some sort of scan through it to find the words too, but that means they could have done that at any time. And they chose to leave them up there because reasons. What are your thoughts? Should Joe Rogan be pulled off the air or whatever, or did we take him out of context? Is it? Are we being too mean to the 100 millionaire?
No, and yet no, we're not being too mean. And yes, he should be pulled off Spotify. Fuck him.
Yeah, I'm not. By the way, my stance is not that he should stay. My stance is Joe Rogan's an asshole. That's my stance.
You have had to be saying it so often. It sounded like he is saying it so often because the way it just rolled off the tongue for him. I'm like, oh, you say it a lot. And in his apology, he was like, I haven't said it in years. I've realized there's no context. I'm like, you're a grown ass dude who knows better. And also, I don't believe you when you say that you haven't said it in years. But no, you said that shit yesterday. Definitely.
These niggas are crazy.
And this man was even like, yeah, me and my friends, we got into what did you say? We went to this neighborhood and it was like Planet of the Apes. It was like we were back in Africa. I'm like, yo,
yeah,
that's some wild racist stuff.
Here, I will read that quote because I actually have that quote in full. He says, quote, we're gonna go see Planet of the Apes. So I look at my iPhone app and it says, okay, take me to this one. And this guy goes, okay, I'll go. Is this in a good neighborhood? And he goes, mimicking a foreign accent. Oh yeah. The guy barely speaks English. He takes us there. We get out and we're giggling. Oh, we're going to see Planet of the Apes. We walk into Planet of the Apes. We walked into Africa, dude. We walked in the door and there was no white people. Planet of the Apes didn't take place in Africa. That was a racist thing for me to say, right? So that's Rogan sort of kind of cleaning it up at the end. But yeah, I saw someone on Twitter actually say well, he's just saying because they were foreign, because they were white and there was no white people. It's like going to this place where you don't see anybody recognize you. You don't compare black people to apes, yo. You're not that stupid, That's why he said it. It's ridiculous.
There is no white person who does not know that comparing black people to monkeys and apes is racist. They all know. Of course they know it's racist.
Right.
And it's very interesting to see how some comedians have been like, oh, well, it's, it's our job to make people uncomfortable. First of all, I didn't know Joe Rogan was a comedian. Is he a comedian?
Yeah, he's a stand-up. That's his,
okay.
Way before he was ever a podcaster. He was always a comedian. Yeah.
But also, I saw someone say this. I can't remember who it was. But they were like, how come it has to be uncomfortable for black people, but when it comes to talking about whiteness, then we can't make people too uncomfortable. Then it's about cancel culture. And I thought that was pretty interesting because it's basically comedians are okay with making us feel uncomfortable, but then when we call them out on their shit, it's like, oh well, you can't have a problem with what I'm saying because it's supposed to be quote unquote funny and edgy. Fuck you.
Right. But even if you take that into context, it's okay to be uncomfortable, whatever. There's literally a bill being passed right now in Florida, the don't make white people uncomfortable shit. Yeah. Right. That's a legitimate bill. So the idea of you can make us feel uncomfortable during a stand-up, and by the way, this wasn't a stand-up. That was from an episode of the show. That's okay in some sort of comedy context. No, dude. And that to me proves it's not just one-sided. We're uncomfortable and we just can't take a joke. White people are literally writing bills don't talk about Black history because it might make my kid uncomfortable in school.
Right.
History, not a joke. History. Actual history that they were not a part of. They're listening to it as a third party, just like Black kids are now. Right. But somehow that is acceptable to shield them from, shield their white lily lives, from hearing history. but we're supposed to be okay with this by directly referring to us as apes or comparing us to apes. Get the fuck out of here. Micah, your thoughts?
Yeah, I've never gotten Joe Rogan. Even as a stand-up, I never thought that the dude was funny. I don't know how he got as famous as he has gotten. And I've never listened to 1 minute of his show. Like because it seems like a bunch of people getting high talking about shit that they don't know anything about. And that's incredibly annoying to me.
In fairness, I have listened to episodes of the Joe Rogan Experience. That's not exactly what it is. It's a dumb person interviewing other people. Most of the time, they're a lot smarter than him talking about things. He's a terrible interviewer. That's why he's popular. It's just like, what would you do if you were
like the average dude
moron
who doesn't know shit?
That's it. So what do you think, doctor? And then they just talk for 45 minutes.
He got $100 million for that. That is the whitest shit ever.
Yeah. Yeah. Like he said it before. Like, I'm an idiot, so you know.
And I know we're probably going to get people in the comments when this goes up on YouTube, like, well, you guys are just jealous or whatever.
Jealous?
Yeah. I'm jealous that dude is kind of an amateur at this, and he's making like $1 bajillion. When I legitimately think that there are tons of other podcasts out there that are better, but
not including this one, by the way. You don't have to include us.
Yeah, I'm not even including this one. Like, we know what we are. But none of this surprises me. Because Joe Rogan seems like a libertarian, and libertarians are the most annoying people in the world. They
politics with 13-year-olds.
At best, they believe in like equality, quote unquote equality,
right.
but like
they remove all the context of nuance.
Right, exactly. Like it's like that meme of those three people trying to watch a baseball game, right? There's one that's really tall who can see over the fence. There's one that's average height that can't really see over the fence, and then there's one who's short that can't see anything.
Right.
And their version of equality is giving them all one box to stand on. Well, that doesn't help. It doesn't help the person who can already see, and it doesn't help the person who is the shortest.
Right.
What is real equality is stacking those boxes so that the smallest person can see, so that the middle person can see, and that so that the tall person can continue to see. Like that's the equality that we need to strive for. Joe Rogan thinks that, well, I mean, he's one of those people where it's just like, well, you know, it's as long as everything is equal and everything is fair, and if you get to say it, then I should get to say it, right? Like that's that's the type of bullshit that libertarians, particularly white libertarians, I don't know too many black libertarians. I don't know any, in fact, but that's the type of, I believe it. Like, but that's the type of bullshit that he spews. And so none of this is a surprise to me. None of it is a surprise. Do I think he should be taken off? I think that Spotify is, as a company, has the right to do whatever they want. I think it is also the right of consumers to vote with their wallet. I am very, very big on that. I'm big on protesting shit you don't like, and I'm big on fucking just telling, call a sponsor, tell them that this shit is happening, get them to fucking pull this shit. The reason why the Washington Commanders are the Washington Commanders is because enough people said, hey, FedEx, make them change the name. And they changed it. That's how that got done. And if you want Joe Rogan to be off of here, yo, stop listening to Spotify, yo. Like they're literally
stop listening to a show.
Yeah, but no, you have to leave Spotify.
You have to
Oh,
leave
okay.
Spotify. You have to leave Spotify.
Oh, people aren't going to do that.
Huh?
I have a Spotify account, and my biggest issue was, can I move all my playlists? And look, lo and behold, Wired has an article on how to do that. So
it's funny because it's like
I don't care. I'll use Apple Music. I don't give a fuck. Does it have the same music that I want? That's all I'm asking.
Spotify kept Joe Rogan on even as he was spewing COVID misinformation for months.
Right. They don't because people listened. Because people listen. Now, look, I'm not gonna sit here and say that the CEO of Spotify is in cahoots with Joe Rogan, and he's, like people that high up, they don't listen to this shit, right? Like,
no, they don't give a fuck about that.
They don't give a fuck. Also, they care about numbers.
They paid $100 million to that man.
Yeah, but you know why? Because they not because they listen to the Joe Rogan Experience, because all these dummies listen to the Joe Rogan Experience and bring in more people. That's all they care about. So once people start leaving Spotify in droves, then Spotify will have to make a change. I don't think that he should necessarily be pulled off because I don't want him there. I don't listen to him. I've never used Spotify. And he has a right to be on a platform if a platform will allow him to be on it. The problem is him and his content, and the other problem is the fucking platform. They need to really take an inventory of whether they want this bad publicity or whether they want these dollars from these dummies. And I'm telling you, they're always going to pick the dollars no matter what. 100%. So the only way to affect that is to leave Spotify.
Right. I mean, here's the thing. Go ahead, Sarah.
Go ahead.
Well, what I was going to say is, you vote with your wallet if this is a thing that you want to happen. There is one argument for leaving him on Spotify. And it's a technical argument, which is Spotify is a walled garden. You can't listen to him unless you go to that platform, whether you listen to it free or if you pay for Spotify. When he wasn't on Spotify, he had a much larger reach because he was just on regular like podcasting apps. So that exclusivity in a way has kept him. It's kept him.
Has lowered his numbers?
Oh, 100%. It has definitely lowered his numbers. Now, for some people who are hardcore Joe Rogan listeners, they signed up for Spotify. They were like, oh shit, like that's my guy. I'm going to go over. And they make a lot of money off of advertising, I'm sure, from him. But he is in a walled garden. So there is something to be said about just being like, y'all want to keep him? Keep his ass over there and keep his influence low. But that's part of the reason, like, they would have never pulled 150 episodes of his show from any of those made, like Apple's not going to pull it and all these other places aren't going to pull all of those episodes off from being listened to, but Spotify can to kind of control him. And even before, but even before this, like they had pulled a bunch. I'm just saying that, I'm not saying that that's an argument like I'm in support of. I'm just saying there is the argument that he's in a walled garden. So like that does keep him, his influence lower.
Sure. But at the same time, we're talking about it right now. And two, if you have a wider reach, that's a double-edged sword.
It is. Yep.
If more people hear it, more people will be outraged. And it will be much easier for people to contact sponsors or whomever and that's raise a stink about this shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look, there's another element to this, which is, and you sort of touched on it, Micah, which is Rogan is a libertarian, right? Or I guess professes to be. Conservatives who are, like, hey, this is my stance on shit, type of guy. Like, I think he's like a big time spokesman for like On It, which is like a sports, like they make supplements and things like that, and some sort of like workout equipment and shit. Like there's so much of that industry that is run by conservatives. They're not going to leave him, right? No. Like, hey, Joe Rogan's a fucking conservative asshole. They're like, yeah, so are we, dude. Like, that's just a thing, especially in fitness. There's a lot of people somehow equate conservatism with like strength, which is weird. Again, they're literally writing a bill. Oh, don't hurt lily white kids' feelings. So it's tough, I guess. So it's interesting. Like, I don't know what the solution to dealing with him is, but I do think sunlight is the best disinfectant, right? Is to expose shit like this, right? Because you had certain celebrities who walked right into to this disaster by defending Joe Rogan.
Which celebrity?
The Rock did it. There was another one too. There was somebody else. I just saw their name too. Somebody else was like, "No, Joe Rogan is fucking great," and people were like, "No, the fuck he's not." And they were like, "Oh shit, I didn't realize that. My bad."
Okay, but the first celebrity you mentioned, what
Rock.
happened?
Yeah, he came out and said, "Oh, Joe Rogan is free to say whatever he wants." And then somebody
what a great apology. He said something like, "What a great apology that was. Very articulate, and I can't wait to be on the show and drink some tequila."
Terramana.
Because you always work. You gotta the brand. And that's all that was too. That's all that was too. I don't think he gave a fuck about Joe.
He didn't even know what Joe Rogan said. He didn't even hear that apology, dude.
Right. He's like, Joe Rogan is a really popular podcaster. Let me see if I can squeeze my brand in. People are talking about him. Let me see if I can squeeze my brand in there. But are you sure? Because they're talking about him in a very bad... they're talking about him. Gotta push this tequila.
Yep.
So
then somebody... He commented, The Rock commented to some woman that she was, quote, triggered. She was triggered. Like, oh, too bad you're triggered, Lib. And that didn't go over well. Because people were like,
no,
really?
It did not.
Go fuck yourself, dude. And he was like, I'm sure his manager or publicist was like, Joe Rogan is on tape saying nigga like 55 times. And he was like, let me go out here and write this tweet real fast. My bad. This is what happened. I didn't know.
That's actually what happened was some guy tweeted to him and was like, hey, Joe Rogan said this. And then The Rock was like, oh shit, on Twitter, like, I did not know.
Yeah.
And then people got on him because they were like, you owe that woman an apology. Because this guy tried to correct you, and you did not have that kind of same energy that you had for that woman.
Nah,
then he ended up
triggered,
and then he did apologize to her.
Oh, did he eventually?
Publicly.
Okay, good.
Yeah, he did.
This is where we are in society. The guy that tweeted at The Rock, who said, "Hey, you got a great platform. You need to know that Joe Rogan is using the N-word like crazy, right?" Then Twitter got on that guy who is an author who has written the N-word in his books. And they're like, well, we should cancel you. We should cancel you. But the characters, from what I understand, I haven't read the book, but from what I understand, the characters who are saying the N-word are the villains in the books. And people don't realize that. But,
that's perfect. I'm so glad you brought that up. That's fucking perfect. One, that is the ultimate internet milkshake duck. Like, oh, it's a milkshake. A duck is drinking a milkshake. Well, 1 week later, you find out the milkshake duck is a racist. But some people were saying, and I'm very interested to hear the two of your thoughts on this. People were getting on Rogan, obviously, for saying what he said, hard ER. And saying there's never an acceptable situation that anybody not black should be saying the word. What are your thoughts on that? Is there ever an acceptable moment that somebody can say that word who's white?
Is your name Walter Goggins, and are you starring in a...
He gonna say it. See, in the series, he gonna say that shit. That's fair. Is it The Shield?
Are you Walton Goggins in an FX series? Then yes, you can say it. Look, if it's art, I tend to give it a little bit of a pass, a little bit. If you're quoting art like music, no, get the fuck out of here. You ain't an artist. You're tracing. Get the fuck out of here, you filthy fucking tracer. And look, it's a garnish, not a seasoning, Quentin. It's a garnish, not a seasoning, Quentin. It's a garnish, not a seasoning, Quentin. Quentin Tarantino gets he uses it liberally, and it gets annoying. But it's also art, so I'm not terribly I'm not triggered when I hear it. I've been called it. So it doesn't, I'm not going to give you the reaction that you want from me. But at the same time, nah, yo, it's a garnish, not a seasoning. I will paraphrase what one of my coworkers used to say. I'm only gonna be so many bitches, right? I'm only gonna hear that word so many times in art before I'm gonna take offense to that shit.
Right.
So
what are your thoughts?
It's delicate, man. It's delicate.
What are your thoughts, Jar?
Yeah, I'm along the same lines. In historical or fiction or whatever, in movies, TV shows, sure.
Even if it's contemporary, if your villain is a racist bigot,
I
get it. I'm watching Peacemaker. The T-1000 is a fucking bigot.
Yeah, he's a bigot. Yeah.
Yeah, in art, I'm willing to give it leeway. If you're a white person that's singing or rapping to things like niggas in Paris or whatever, no. I've seen some black folks be like, I don't care if they say it in the song. I do. Don't say it.
Gwyneth Paltrow tweeted that. She was like, "Oh, I love niggas in Paris," and people were like, "Don't ever write that ever again."
It should have been you, Pepper Potts. It should have been you.
Fucking Goop. Shut up, Goop.
Yeah, outside of entertainment, movies and stuff. No. So say the N word. If I have to say the N word out in public most of the time, unless I'm around friends or whatever, then no, you can't say it.
Right.
I don't even like you saying the N word because that's just a substitute. You're
just making me say it. You're just making me say it in my brain. Like you're
thinking it. You're thinking. In fact,
that's
how I like the insane clown
ninja.
Yeah, ninja.
Right. They used to say ninja
don't say that
all the time. Get the fuck out of here.
Honestly, just as soon as you feel like it's going to pop in your brain, just push it out.
There are so many other disparaging words that you can call people, yo. Right. There are so many other disparaging words that you can call people. Can I just have this one?
I feel like white people want to be able to have like a cool word to call fellow people, right? Like I think that's more of their upset.
They call me a fellow person. Don't.
You identify as a human being now, huh?
But I do think it's interesting that you have white people who, well, not interesting, but white people who want to use a dehumanizing word that they came up with just so liberally, and they feel like they should be able to use it just because black people use it differently. But no white person gets permission to use it. Like I said, outside of art and entertainment.
Yeah, like when I hear people say that there's never a time, that feels. And I'm not. My next statement is not like judging anybody.
You're advocating for it, aren't you?
No, I'm not gonna. I'm not advocating for it at all. No, what I'm saying is,
tell us why you believe white people should say that.
I think they should say it all the time, so they can just get beat up all the time, right? No, like my thought process. That's wild. That'd be a wild statement. I think they should always say it. Like, you have tattoos on your forehead. I don't give a shit. No, but in all seriousness, like. When people say there should be never a time, it feels like a very juvenile perspective to me. Like it just does. Like I think there are times. I think art is one of them, right? Like if you're talking about like if you have a movie taking place during slavery, like hey, you folks get back in the field, seems a little odd. Like it just seems a little odd.
Yeah, like that movie Antebellum. Like that movie Antebellum, where these fucking racists and bigots kidnapping black people and to live out their Civil War fantasies.
They're like, hey kids,
I like that movie.
No, hell no, we didn't like that movie.
Are you serious?
That movie was.
I listened to that review. I distinctly remember. Actually,
No, you
might
didn't.
know.
No, you didn't
No,
listen
you
to it.
did not.
No, hell, you did.
No, you did.
Yo, I was
did.
furious. I was
I
furious.
did.
I was furious.
I remember you guys saying like this is such an accurate depiction of what it's like to be black back then, and now I'm afraid I'm gonna get kidnapped. And
They just took black people off the streets in modern times, and they just forgot that they weren't slaves. What the fuck? That plot made no sense. It made no sense. None.
I feel like I think I read today that Keke Palmer is going to be starring in something like that.
But hers makes sense. She grows up there, and but that's a true story, by the way. That story is fucking true.
Wow.
In like the 60s, there were black people held like in slavery, and they didn't realize that like what year it was in modern time. Like that legitimately happened, right? Not that you were just like, they couldn't take me off the street today and then make me a slave, and I'd be like, I just forgot where I live. Nigga, I know where I live. What the fuck? Like, this shit makes no sense. That movie was dumb. Antebellum was dumb. But anyway, I do think there are, like, I think you can have academic conversations about racial slurs and things like that and what that does, like, and have a real conversation. I think if you're having
white teachers should say it.
What's that? Do I think white teachers? I don't think those type of academic conversations should happen in like grade school. I'm talking about in like a college environment, like intelligent, smart people talking that. Maybe they need a black like co-teacher there just in case shit gets out of hand. Like relax. You're saying it too hard. But like I think you could have an academic conversation about it. I think in art is a different conversation. But I don't think that what those three morons were doing on that podcast is an academic conversation. No. Right? It was nothing that Joe Rogan is talking about from his perspective is an academic conversation about it. It's not. I mean, he's literally had a doctor on there talking about how black people have a part of their brains that leads them to be more aggressive and shit like that. Like, what kind of fucking phrenology bullshit is that? Like,
he also had a guy on recently when they were talking about Michael Eric Dyson, and like Joe Rogan was talking about like, you know, what is black? Like, is he fully black? Talking about like the differentiation.
Right. Two white men discussing whether Michael Eric Dyson is black.
Yeah. Also, if you're a white person who's like, there's never a time to ever say it. I'm like, first of all, you are grandstanding so hard, and that's how I know that you say it all the time. Mm-mm.
Yeah, don't tell black people. Like, I don't want to hear white people police our language.
No.
Like, this is a thing we took back. And look, you can disagree with whether it should be used or whatever personally, but don't police black people's language on that ever.
I don't think anyone should say it. I don't think anybody should say it. It's just like,
remember the NAACP like buried the N-word? They were like, they put it in a box and then they buried it. The dumbest gesture ever. Oh, young people use it too much. Hey, what generation do you think they learned it from?
Right.
It ain't starting in the 90s, dude. It didn't. Knock it off.
So here's a question for you two. Do you think Joe Rogan is a racist?
Do I think Joe Rogan hates black people, or do I think he's a racist? Do I think he's a racist? Yeah. I don't think he hates black people, right? Like he's a racist like most people are racist. You know what I mean? Like if you're watching a boxing match and there's a match between a white guy and a black guy, I'm going to root for the black guy. And knowing nothing about them, I'm going to root for the black guy because I'm a racist. Right? Now, if I find out that
I mean, that's how I watch boxing.
I wouldn't call you a racist, but okay.
I'm rooting for everybody black.
Like, if I find out that black guy keeps like his millions of dollars in a B of A checking and can't read, then we're gonna have another conversation. But I think everybody, I won't say everybody is racist, but I think everyone gravitates towards people that look like them.
Of course.
And do I think Joe Rogan is a racist? I mean, like, how are we defining it, right? Are we defining it like white dragon racist? Like that's a fucking hardcore racist. But is Joe Rogan like
Does he have bigoted
black people?
Like, does Joe Rogan have bigoted views? Yes, 100%.
Yes,
100% he does. 100%. I mean, clearly. Like, what the fuck? Like, clearly, to refer to black people, to compare them directly to the Planet of the Apes is a bigoted viewpoint, right?
Right.
Yeah, like somebody saying something that is in fact a bigoted or racist thing. Like, I hate to nuance this topic because it feels like it shouldn't be, but like you kind of have to be. Like, there are definitive racists. Like, Donald Trump is a racist.
He's
right?
a racist.
He's an actual hardcore fucking racist. Joe Rogan is like a dumb white guy who's just kind of like, all black guys got huge dicks. I mean, that's just a fact, bro. Like, that's just kind of dumb, bigoted shit, right? It's true. But it's like, that's just dumb, bigoted shit, right? So, like, that's the type, like, there's a difference, right? The vast majority of white people in this country have very bigoted mindsets about things. Like, oh, you know, black guys got dreads. You never know about those people. Like, that's a bigoted mindset. But I don't want my kids around blacks. That's racist. Like, that's racism. Like, that is a very different thing. Like, we got to keep these people down type of shit. That is what racism really is. Bigoted mindset is just a bunch of stupid as, like, stereotypes you believe. I hate to nuance it because I know the comments will lack any sort of like nuance of that. It'll just be like, oh, Jay doesn't think anyone's racist. Like, no, that's not what I'm saying. So like but I do think there is a difference.
I think he is one of those. First, let me answer my own question. I do think he's racist. I think he is one of those white people that will say things like, oh, I don't hate black people. Of course you don't hate us. Maybe like not like a Donald Trump or Roy, who's that guy from Alabama? Can't remember his name. Roy something. The guy who ran for Congress or whatever.
Roy Moore?
Roy Moore?
Yeah, Roy Moore. Yeah.
Is he a racist? I thought he was just a pedophile. Is he both?
I think one begets the other.
But like, no, I don't think he's going to be out. Be
He wasn't
like,
fucking little black boys, was he?
No, probably not.
Well, I don't know. No one knows.
Right, because he's a racist.
Sometimes racism works out to your favor, I guess. Like, I'm good. Stay over
like,
there.
I don't think Joe Rogan is going to be out being like, of course the police should have killed that nigger. I don't think he's going to be saying things like that. But I do think he is the type of white person who would be dismissive of another black person's experience around race. And to me,
that is 100% true. That's 100% true. Yeah, I agree with you.
And to me, like, that is also racism, and it's also it's also an insidious type of racism because you are pretending to have empathy for people, but you really don't. And that's the type of person he strikes me as.
Okay, that's a fair point. Yep. Yeah, I mean, I think we're all drawing the same conclusion, just using different terms.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
Yep.
But yeah, like I don't think he's White Dragon racist from Peacemaker. But he's definitely, like, however you want to define it, he's definitely on the side of like
he's
kind of a shitty
spectrum.
dude. Yeah, he's on the spectrum.
He's on the spectrum of racism.
Yeah, there you go. He's not fully there, but he ain't fully off either.
He was definitely getting into arguments with his black friends over Trayvon Martin and like every other police. Situation.
Yeah, no, that feels about right.
Like,
I mean,
you gotta look at both sides. Like, okay.
I mean, cops have it really hard, guys. Like, all right, Joe, you gotta relax.
Like, just if you just follow directions and comply, then maybe it's like, okay, all right.
Yeah, he doesn't have. I've listened to like a very limited amount of episodes of his show. Like, he doesn't have a lot of black people on his show. Like, there's not a lot.
Because we're not dumb yet. Well, some of us aren't. But like, we aren't dumb enough. We aren't dumb enough to be on there.
I mean, he had Candace Owens on there.
Dumb.
Candace Owens' account.
I mean, he did call her out about some shit, which is kind of funny. There's some funny clips of that. It's like,
I mean, but also
she's so ridiculous. Even Joe Rogan was like, "Whoa."
I mean, but also, how much of that was also probably sexism because she is a black woman, so he's probably like.
I mean, what she was saying was fucking bullshit. In fairness, it was bullshit because she's bullshit. But
she's awful.
She is an awful person. She's also a racist. See, I think she's actually a racist and a money grubbing asshole. But Yeah, I just I don't know what the solution is for Rogan, whether he leaves Spotify or doesn't. But if you don't fuck with the guy and you have Spotify,
Don't listen.
you can leave. Well, definitely don't
Yeah.
listen. Like I haven't listened to Rogan probably in 5 years or something like that. But it's just
Jesus, he's been doing this that long?
dude, he's been around for a long fucking time. He's been around a
damn.
long time. Yeah, absolutely.
Go to another streaming service
Yeah.
to get your music.
Yeah.
Look,
go to
Podcast.
Apple.
like honestly, I just pulled up. There's some app called Song Shift that moves your Spotify playlist over to Apple Music. So if this shit works,
Oh shit!
Yeah.
Who came up with that idea? Dang.
somebody who knew that people didn't want to leave their platforms once they got on there because they get stuck. Yeah,
Bruh, that is a good ass idea.
it's a super smart idea. Yeah, so
How much
cool.
is Spotify a month? How much is Spotify a month? $10?
Something like that. I pay for a family plan. It's something like, I think I pay $14 or something like that.
Y'all pay for it?
Yeah. Same thing.
Yeah, so I can have the family
I don't listen
plan.
to fucking commercials. Get the fuck out of here. Commercials are for
Well,
suckers.
also, I don't listen to
Thank you.
Spotify. So
I don't
Yeah,
listen
I
to
don't-
Spotify either. I listen to Apple. And
Yeah,
I
he
paid
uses
$20 for Apple Arcade, Apple,
Apple,
Music, and a family plan.
you have to pay. Wait a minute, there.
Well, how are you even listening to music, yo? How are you
what
even
are you
listening to
doing,
music?
yo? What are you doing? You got your ham radio over there in LA? What is going on?
Oh,
You just
know
pick
what?
one song at a time on YouTube or some shit? What the fuck?
You know, never mind. I realized. Well, for Apple, I only use
You listen to
Apple Podcasts.
you listen to Pandora and you listen to Pandora
Ugh.
play 2 songs and then half an hour of commercials and then 2
No,
more
actually,
songs.
no. I have Tidal, so I do pay. I pay like
Tidal?
$9.99. Yeah, I like Tidal.
I had Tidal for like a couple of months because I wanted to hear the new
You had
Jay-Z
title.
album.
You had title for Lemonade, and then you heard it, and it was like, all right, I'm done.
I have way too many playlists on Tidal to ever get rid of it. So
I bet this one will do. I bet this app will be like, come on over, you can leave.
Nope. Mm-mm.
All right.
Y'all know how
What
I
if
am with
Joe
technology.
Rogan? What
No.
if Joe Rogan goes over the title?
Mm-hmm.
Jay-Z
Now what you
won't
gonna
do
do?
that.
Now what you gonna do, huh?
Write a letter to Jay-Z and Beyonce.
Nah,
Like,
Jay-Z
I
don't own
disagree.
Tidal no more.
Oh, really?
No, you don't own that shit.
Oh, okay. Well,
Uh-huh.
whatever.
You
Then
thought
I guess
you were buying black. You thought you were buying black. Like,
Yeah.
see, these dumb niggas, they over
mean-
here helping Apple. I'm helping the black people.
Yeah, them
Nah.
black people took their money and got the fuck out of there. I think they own some of it, but he's not like he don't own as much as he used to.
Mike is such an asshole.
Stop supporting white people's music. It's terrible. Terrible what you're doing. So
Jay,
yeah, look,
you don't like R&B, so you can't talk about it. Either.
that's why I'm hoping Apple has plenty of other music when I switch over. Like y'all have R&B on here, do y'all? Like, 'cause I don't want it. Like, no thanks.
I mean, I got plenty of it, but
Yeah, much
But,
of lay me
they
down,
got
lick
they
me
got
up
all that
nonsense.
they got all that stuff that you listen to. Also.
Good. Yeah, give me my digital music. But look, I don't know what the solution is to Rogan. I do know this, like calling his ass out on shit. That'll keep people from wanting to go on as well. That also hurts him. Right? Like
yeah, that'll
if
keep
the
big
only-
names from wanting to go on there.
right. Like, look, The Rock is a huge star. He shouldn't go on his show. Like he shouldn't.
No.
After this, you're a black man. I mean, however you deem yourself. But he don't always want to talk about that. But like he shouldn't
I'm a
go on
human
that
being,
show.
But my dad was black.
He identifies as a human being. That's fine. Right? He runs the Miami Dolphins. Yeah, I saw that video, by the way. Yeah, I was like, yo, who is this white man saying this? Like, I thought he was just a white dude. I did. It's like, I get it. Like, he doesn't look black at all.
I identify as a human being, but my dad was black.
I was like,
It's just like, oh.
you're half black then, dude.
To
That's how it works.
be fair to that dude, you could tell he was put on the spot. He's not used to.
Yo, he was not used to talking about that shit at all. He's like, the fuck? No, stop asking me this shit.
I've passed as a white man my whole life. Like,
Yo, he looks white. Yo, if I walked past that dude,
I mean,
I wouldn't
but-
even thought twice about it. I'd be like,
I mean,
keep
but
going.
other people like how he's talking about his black dad like in private, so he's just not probably comfortable talking about it in public.
Yeah, that's fine.
Oh well.
Either way. So fuck Joe Rogan, I think is what we've come down to on that. All right, next week we will be back with The Photograph, episode 217. So check that out. I think you can watch it pretty much anywhere, like anywhere to rent and stuff like that, Amazon and what have you. And we will see you guys next week.
See ya.
Bye.
You're watching the Black on Black Cinema YouTube channel. Make sure you check out our full reviews of black movies, past and present. And every other week, we do a preview episode where we talk about a random topic that affects the black community.